This is a HeadGum podcast.
You will dream it.
Yo, they wanna know.
Hey,
Mia.
hey,
Mia.
Come on.
hey. I want to be famous.
Welcome to Who Weekly, the podcast where you'll learn everything you need to know about the celebrities you don't. I'm Lindsay Weber.
I'm Bobby Finger.
And happy Thanksgiving, Bobby.
Happy Thanksgiving, Lindsay. Can you believe?
That we have an episode on Thanksgiving.
I really can't. And honestly, if you're listening to this on Thanksgiving, God bless, because there's probably a reason why. I hope that we are the perfect white noise to whatever bullshit is going on around your family table.
Maybe we're providing everyone with like a gift of something to go do or like distract them from the turmoil of their own household, you know?
Exactly. You don't want to be around the family anymore. No offense to your family, but you spend enough time. You don't want to watch football. You don't want to help clean up.
So when you give thanks, when you go around the table and you give thanks, you could say, I am thankful for a podcast none of you have ever heard of. And then you can talk about the podcast.
Did you see Cardi B post a meme this morning on Instagram that was like
What?
me walking... It's like me walking to the kitchen after, well, everyone's doing the dishes after Thanksgiving dinner, and it was like a photo of just a blind man with a walker in front of him, but like the little walking stick in front of him.
That's really funny.
It was very funny.
Are you going to watch my favorite like Who event of the holiday season, the Thanksgiving Day Parade?
I might. It's
Do you
not
watch
at my
it?
house Thanksgiving. I usually watch it, yeah, but it's on at a weird time.
It is because it's on so early.
Yeah.
You have to wake up to watch it, which is weird. Like the
If I were at
Today
my
Show.
parents' house, I'd be watching it, but I won't be. So, I'll try to turn it on. What time is it on? I'm gonna be
It's
up
on
cooking,
so early. I'll probably be driving, so I don't know if I'll also. I wish you could like tune in on the radio. You probably can. Anyways, it always cracks me up because it's like Hooey in the most perfect. Everyone lip syncs. It's like the.
especially Hooey this year.
It's so like this. The number. Well, the star is Gwen Stefani. She's number one on the like list of people. Then after her is 98 Degrees. I don't even know 90 Degrees was still together. Do they have a song?
Do they have a song? I mean, they have their old songs. That's all you need.
But guess who's performing, Bobby? Cam.
Cam. Oh,
Cam.
My queen.
Cam.
Cam, singer of one of the best songs of 2017, Diane.
Cam, Olivia Holt, Jojo Siwa. It's literally like everyone we talk about. Miss
can't believe
America,
Jojo Siwa's
Cara
gonna be
Mund. Who else? BB Rexa, obviously, is going to perform.
Sabrina Carpenter.
Featuring the Goo Goo Dolls, Andy Grammer, and Flo Rida.
And weirdly, last on the list is Patti LaBelle, who I don't understand how she got so far down the list. She's after Sabrina Carpenter. It's disrespectful.
That's very rude. Speaking of floats, Lindsay was over at my apartment a few days ago last week, and
I don't even know where you're going with this.
I was so excited because now my cable package comes with Hallmark Channel, and so we just turned on a random Christmas movie that was on like the Hallmark Channel page, and we watched one that was, I mean, watched is generous. We
It was
had
like
one
blooming for Christmas, bloomed for Christmas, flowers for Christmas.
It was not from this season's collection of Hallmark Christmas movies, but it was from a previous season's collection, and it was about some small town, obviously,
Pasadena.
in the Northeast. Oh, it was in Pasadena?
It was about the Rose
Jesus.
Bowl. It was about the
Rose Bowl parade.
The Rose Bowl parade, where they
Rose
have
parade.
floats with flowers on them every year, New Year's Day, and it was about this woman who like had to make the float herself.
Had to plan the float. And it was like, she was always in conversations with like the Float Foundation and like the Parade Foundation and like the Flower Foundation.
I kept looking away, and then I'd look back. I'd think it was over, and it'd still be on. Like it was a really long and involved movie.
It was so long.
I kept thinking it was almost over, and it was never over. But
At one point, there was a scene that would have been the end of any romantic comedy in the history of cinema. And then like you think, oh, this is the end. And then it was on half an hour later.
It was
Something
not the
happened
end.
with the float.
It was not the end. So we watched a Hallmark movie passively. We are going to watch I still want to watch Switched at Christmas, the Candace Cameron Bure.
Will you be back? Will you be back by
Is it
the
Sunday?
time it premieres?
Is it
I
Sunday?
think it's Sunday.
I'll be
it's
back.
Sunday.
I'll be back for that. Specifically,
It might
I'll
be-
come back for that.
It might be...
I think it's Sunday.
It might be Tuesday. It might be a weekday. It doesn't matter.
Why would it?
Doesn't matter. We're gonna watch it.
That's disrespectful. We need to
Wherever
watch
you
it.
are, we're gonna watch it. Wherever you are, we're gonna watch it.
Maybe
But
we'll
for
do
now,
like
we
a
have to-
live tune-in situation with us if you also have the Hallmark Channel on your PlayStation View account.
God bless the PlayStation View account.
We also had a magical in-person experience. Both of us went to the Poppy show in New York City this week. Poppy is somebody we've definitely talked about on this podcast before.
But not enough, I would say. Not enough.
Well, especially after the show, because let me tell you, she did not disappoint.
The best thing about the Poppy show was that Poppy wasn't the best part of the Poppy show.
Not
the best
even
part of the
close.
The best part of the Poppy show was
Charlotte.
Charlotte, who is a literal mannequin, not a person dressed as a mannequin, a literal mannequin DJ who just stands on the
But
stage
Charlotte
and she DJs.
had an amazing set, it turns out. She had an incredible set. And to watch people like throw their hands up in the air and groove literally to a mannequin just standing behind a DJ deck, I was like, this is surreal, but also the kind of surreal that I can get with. Like, this is my drugs, you know?
Yeah, because Poppy basically just did what you would expect her to do.
She sang her good ass songs.
She sang her good ass songs, whatever. There was nothing super notable about the performances in general, but Charlotte, you can't get that sort of experience by just going on YouTube.
No.
You don't get that unless you are in it. You don't see how absurd and surreal it is unless you are in the venue with hundreds of screaming teens who like want to join the cult of Poppy and Charlotte.
The best too is that Josh kept being like, "Where's Plant?" Because I guess there's a character in Poppy like called Plant. She like
And it's
talks
just
to
a
a
plant.
plant, and so Josh was like, "Bring out Plant." I was like, "This is the best. This is the best experience I've ever been to for $17 in New York City."
$17. We were in the same room as Titanic Sinclair, known who we've talked about on the show.
Who somebody called about and said they went to high school with, and that he was very popular. Did you hear that call?
Of course he was popular. But it was a lot of fun. Also, we had our last live show, which was in Brooklyn.
Oh, it was so good.
It went wonderfully. You guys are great. We love to be home in Brooklyn.
It was so great, and it was so nice for everyone to come out. We like weren't sure because you just saw us a month ago, so we weren't sure if there was like anyone left to see us. We made a whole new show. It was like a little nerve-wracking, but you guys came out, and the audience was like incredible as always. So it was like a really nice end to our tour.
The audience was incredible, and also it's absurd to expect people to show up at a no man's land time slot, 5 p.m. on a Sunday, but you all came out in droves, and that's unbelievable to me.
Yes, and shout out Jay and Robert, who are our special guests. We couldn't really play their segment on air because of it was like very visual, so we didn't want to ruin it. But check out their viral video. Leah Michelle is maybe illiterate conspiracy theory. Went viral on Facebook, and we highly recommend you go check that out.
Okay, and let's play the first call.
Hi, Lindsay and Bobby. This is Lindsay calling. My sister and I have been calling you guys for weeks to ask you about Beanie Feinstein, I think. And then today you mentioned her on the show but called her Bernie. We just want to know, we know she's Jonah Hill's sister, and we know she was on Broadway, is on Broadway, and is best friends with Ben Platt from Dear Evan Hansen, but we need to understand who she is now that she's in Lady Bird and why she's not more famous, or is she going to be famous? I think she's a who. Anyway, please report back on this. Even if you don't play the call, can you please tell us more about her? Thank you.
Thank you for that.
So, do we want to talk about Beanie Feldstein?
Well, I didn't know you called her Bernie. I think I knew her name was Beanie.
I did not know this. Beanie, a name given to you by your nanny, is that correct?
Yes.
How did it come about?
I had a nanny when I was young. My mom was working, and my given name is Elizabeth. And she called me Elizabini because that's a popular British nickname.
Oh, okay.
And my brothers are much older, and they're like, let's just call her Beanie. That's so funny. And it totally stuck.
I don't remember who got it wrong. One of us clearly got it wrong. It was
She's
probably
a thing,
me.
though. She's going to be a thing. I think this is actually a good call because it's a comment, but it also, you kind of came out of Lady Bird being like, Beanie Feldstein's a star. And like, she was really good in Neighbors 2.
She was really good in Neighbors 2. For those of you who don't remember Neighbors 2, Neighbors 2 is amazing. It's as good, if not better, than Neighbors 1.
Which is wild.
It features known who, Chloe Grace Moretz is in it, but the breakout star of Neighbors 2, the sorority, is Nora, the one who plays like she has the whole narrative where it's like, I've never smoked before, I've never been bad before, and then immediately goes hog wild. And it's like immediately a fucking psycho. She's so good.
It reminds me that like Chloe Grace Moretz is such a good like she's such a good like straight person. Like she
Right.
represents the audience. Like she's not really good in any way other than kind of standing in as kind of like the cool girl.
Which is sort of what she does. She does it in Clouds of Sils Maria, but it's like compared to everyone else, she's like much more measured and like not interesting. Like it doesn't really matter. Like it's a good performance, but like she doesn't really do anything. But you need someone to not do anything in that role. She's also on Broadway. She was on Broadway in
she's
Hello Dolly, which is
did you,
huge.
did you see that New York Times piece that was like she's
God,
best
with
friends with the
Ben
guy
Platt.
from what's the show?
Dear Evan Hansen.
Yeah, they're best friends from like high school. So they're both
They met
like
at a bat mitzvah.
But we met at a bat mitzvah. This was before cell phones, so we didn't have any way to like stay in touch. He joined my school in 9th grade, and we instantly became best friends. And sort of the way that like he knew we were best friends was like the second week of school, he got his braces off, and he texted me like, I got my braces off, and I left my class to come see his teeth. And I'm such a goody-goody, and I love school, so he was like, I must mean a lot to you.
they're both, which is, come on, that's like
It's cute.
Yeah, it's cute. And so they are both on Broadway at the same time, and it's like a big dream for them both realize, which I think is quite inspiring.
It is, and she's Jonah Hill's sister, which is cool. Anyway, if you haven't seen Lady Bird, you'll see Lady Bird and think, wow, she's really good in it.
Yeah, it's good.
So is Saoirse Ronan. Obviously, she's
also
good in it.
learned a thing that I think made me like Lady Bird 10 times more than I liked it, which was like I liked it pretty much. But did you know that the so Saoirse I keep getting mixed up because of you'll see. But Saoirse's has like acne scars on her face in it that are very kind of like you notice it because you never see those things in movies, and that's her face.
Oh, I love it.
Isn't that amazing? She was like, sure, I'll do it. Like, it's real and I'll do it. And that made me it's so small, but it's so like, it helps the movie so much because it takes you out of the idea that this is a girl that you've seen play like beautiful characters. Like, she's supposed to be like a normal high school student. She's not supposed to be glamorous. And so when you see that, it's like too real, but also extremely satisfying and good.
Who, I feel like, speaking of glamorous, beautiful people, we haven't talked about her, but Odeya Rush, who played the really beautiful, cool girl that she tries to become friends with.
She's going to be a thing, I think.
I feel like, yeah, she's going to be a thing. She's Israeli. Did you know she's from Haifa?
So she's going to be like Gal Gadot too?
She's like, when I saw her, I was like, oh, she's going to be cast as this person in a lot of upcoming movies.
Like hot girl. But it's
Right,
funny
yeah.
because did you read, Katie Weaver wrote a profile of Gal Gadot. She went to Tel Aviv and wrote it. And there's a part where, very relevant
The
to
egg
us.
sandwich?
Yes, it's relevant to us though, but she asked Gal Gadot if she's the most famous person in Israel. Aside, like, and Gal's like, oh, I guess. And it's true. I mean, it's true, like, very true. Like, that's so strange to me to think is that, like, the most famous person in Israel right now is like Gal Gadot. Maybe not to Israelis, but to us or like outside Israel. Anyways, it just made me think
The most famous Israeli to non-Israelis. Yeah,
sure,
probably.
right.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Ask me to name another Israeli celebrity.
Name
I don't
another
think I could.
Israeli celebrity.
I don't think I could. I mean, Odeya Rush.
I'm trying to think. I probably should be able to. I feel like I'm embarrassing my heritage. I'm not Israeli, but like I'm Jewish. But I can't think of another like that big celebrity.
Yeah, so we got a lot of calls about this, but thank you for that person for calling. It was good. Next call.
Speaking of New York kids.
Oh God. Speaking of things we got a lot of calls about, Timothée Chalamet.
Okay, so I just had to pause the latest episode to call you guys and let you know a couple of fun tidbits about Timothée Chalamet. Okay, first of all, his personality is sort of douchey. Bobby got it spot on, douchey New York City kid. I went to high school with him. I also went to high school with Ansel Elgort. And I thought you should know this fun tidbit that if you Google Timothée Chalamet Tiny Tim, you'll get a great video that was in our Rising Stars talent show of Tiny Timmy rapping. You won't regret it. Google it. This is before he was a star, but he was a star in our hearts. And it's kind of weird to hear you guys talk about someone that I went to high school with. Anyway, good form, Bella Fong.
Lindsay, say what you just said.
I said, notice she didn't say that Ansel Elgort was douchey because he's a perfect human being. Ansel Elgort is...
You sound like Violetta.
He's literally everywhere, but I love it. Like, I've never been so charmed by somebody who's so inundated. Do you know what I mean? Usually that turns me off. Like, oh my God, they're everywhere. Leave me alone. But every time Ansel turns up, I mean, literally every one of these calls, I could tell you an Ansel-related story. Like the BTS call, Ansel Elgort, they cut to him in the audience taking a video on his phone, which he later posted to Instagram. Ansel Elgort at a party posing with Lana Del Rey and Violetta. Like, he is everywhere to me. It's perfect. I love him. No more Ansel. Sorry. Can't talk about the call.
Okay, let's move on to Timothée Chalamet.
So
obviously he went to LaGuardia High School, which makes sense. No offense to anyone who went to LaGuardia listening to this right now. I know there are some of you.
But for context, people who don't know anything about LaGuardia, it's a performing arts school in New York that is like a breeding ground. It's like the Fame School. Is it the Fame School?
I think it's the Fame School, yeah. Anyway, so he went to that, and if you Google, like the caller said, Timothée Chalamet raps, you will see something amazing. Let's play it here.
Yeah, let's go. I'm talking T-I-N-Y-T-I-Me. Double T, I take my dance, make me look easy. I'm fresh, I'm clean, so bring it like a boy got a frisbee. Lil' Tim and Tim, I'm for these kids like Disney. Bands 360, make that head dizzy. Every girl in the school, I got them going crazy. 15-year-old white boy, not Justin Baby.
Lindsay, when I sent this call to Lindsay and then I sent her the Timothée Chalamet raps, she goes, let me just quote her.
I'm sorry.
It's like, LOL, I can't believe this, LOL. And then suddenly, it's kind of good. The pants. It's kind of good.
He's wearing these like baggy sweatpants with the pockets out, which is not good. But I mean, the rap, it's pretty good. Like
Lindsay thinks Timothée Chalamet is a great rapper. Just, you heard it here.
Excuse me, I didn't say that. Like, you're taking my words out of context like E-News, but what I'm trying to say is that, like, his rap for what it is in the context of that is not that bad.
What I find really strange is that in Call Me By Your Name, which both Lindsay and I have seen, in the iconic scene when
it's great.
Armie Hammer says, call me by your name and I'll call you by yours, Timothée Chalamet calls Armie Hammer Tiny Tim, which is very weird.
He's like, I love you, Tiny Tim.
I love you, Tiny Tim.
It's funny because seeing this Timmy... hearing about the backstory of Timothée Chalamet, now I understand why Armie and Tim like got along so well. Like they're perfect for each other. They're like literally
so
perfect
for each other.
Yeah, it's perfect.
We basically did together everything that we did in the movie. We rode bikes around Crema. We listened to music. We talked about.
There were some things in the movie that we
didn't do.
Right.
That's true.
Vaguely related. Here we go.
Hi, Lindsay and Bobby. This is Michelle Delorier-Leblanc, who, like Timothée Chalamet, has really leaned into having a French name despite being a very basic American. But you know who hasn't? Brie Larson, who was born with the name Brienne de Salier and gave that up to be boring as Brie Larson. That's why I shall never be a them. Bye.
I love how shady this call is.
I mean, I think this person's like clearly mad that Brie gave up her heritage for such a boring. Her full name on Instagram, on Wikipedia is Brienne Sidonie de Solianet. She has also a French middle name. They gave her a real mouthful of a name.
And Larson makes her sound like Swedish or Norwegian.
I know, like I wonder where Larson is from. Actually, I probably could easily find out. So she's
her mom's side of the
her parental grandparents were French Canadian, so that's why she got such a beautiful French name. Oh, beautiful French. She took her stage name from. Oh my God, this is worse than I ever imagined. She took her stage name from an American Girl doll named Kirsten Larson, which is insane.
Shut up. Shut up. Brie.
And it's funny because Kirsten, the American Girl doll, is like the whitest American Girl doll. She's like the Scandinavian one.
Okay, also,
Samantha's pretty white too.
Weren't American Girl dolls all like blindingly white until like 2 years ago?
It's true, but like Molly was maybe Jewish. I don't know. Like, but I mean, Kirsten was the one who had she had like the braids, like her hair was like braided on top of her head, and she always like celebrated Christmas with like holly leaf. This was as a Jewish young person. I like didn't understand Kirsten at all. I could not relate to her. She always wore like white nightgowns, and you were like, why are you wearing your nightgown like that all the time? All the time.
With a pioneering spirit, Kirsten Larson and her family leave their home in Sweden to set sail on a small ship for America. Kirsten must be very brave during their dangerous sea crossing. They leave behind everything they've ever known to begin a new life in the Minnesota Territory.
Hey, Lindsay and Bobby. It's Kristen from San Francisco. I just finished listening to this week's podcast, and I waited till the end before I called, but it really bothered me, so I had to call in. You guys, in the Allison Mack section where you're talking about the weird sex cult that she is a, VP of, apparently, you mentioned Kristen Crook, I never knew how to pronounce her last name, but you guys said that she played Lois Lane on Smallville, and that is incorrect. She actually played Lana Lang, who was the Smallville farmer stand-in version of Lois Lane, and then later in season 4 or 5, once they started going to the big city metropolis, did they meet Lois Lane, who I think was Lana's cousin, and so there was lots of drama over the fact that Clark started a romance with her. Anyway, this is all irrelevant, but you guys mentioned Kristen but didn't mention the fact that she is also, she was a member of this cult as well. I remember after reading the story, I saw a lot of comments that were talking about apparently during the Smallville days on the Vancouver set, both of them would be going around and telling people, we're joining this women's empowerment group, if you want to come. They basically were recruiters, both of them. And apparently Kristen Crook has gotten out. She is a former member, no longer involved, but Allison obviously rose to the top. So I just thought this was important information that needed to be shared. Lana Lang, not Lois Lane. Also, deeply insulted that you called Brandon Ruth a flop. He's doing great on Legends of Tomorrow and is a CW then. All right. Good for him, Bella Thorne. See you guys next week.
Love a Smallville stan.
I love that she couldn't end without being like, by the way, you also disrespected my number one fave, Brandon Ruth. Could not leave you without letting you know that.
Just FYI, I do not give a shit what role everyone plays on that show, but I did care about the last part about Kristen Crook also joining the cult and then leaving the cult.
That is wild. Also, it's very strange to hear she rose to the top. How dreary.
Yeah, we can move on. I just thought that was fun.
It's a good call. Thank you for that call.
Hi, Who Weekly. This is Abby, second-time caller, long-time listener. I'm watching the American Music Awards because I don't have cable, so I'm watching it a day late. And honestly, I've heard a lot about this band BTS. They're an international band, I guess, and everyone is losing their minds over them. And I have no idea who they are. And they've been on a few of these award shows. I've seen them and heard their name, but I have no idea who they are and no idea where they came from. So if you could give me some insight, that'd be great, because I don't get it. All right, well, good form, Bella Thorne. Bye.
The first thing to know about BTS is that they're one of the most famous bands in the world, groups in the world. The second thing to know about BTS is you don't get it. If Backstreet Boys and NSYNC were famous with 5 people, BTS was like, what if we add 2 more?
But they're not even the biggest K-pop group. There's a
what's
group.
The one with 10?
They're called EXO.
EXO.
They have 10 people. Yeah.
10 people.
But basically, I'm not going to claim to be a K-pop expert. I do like K-pop, and I dabble in and dabble out of it sometimes. It's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's a hard thing to keep up with. It's hard to keep up with any music, let alone music that's not even in your language or popular in the country in which you live.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's hard to really, it's hard to understand culture if you don't live in the culture, if you're not surrounded by it every day,
right? And but imagine Psy, Psy, the K-pop breakthrough, the only one they've had the breakthrough in America. Mm-hmm. They're 10 times more popular than him in Korea, and in the rest of the world. There's a great New York Times magazine piece about how BTS is huge in South America right now because they've broken through to the teeny boppers and culture lovers in South America. As you know, Come to Brazil is relevant to that.
Right.
A lot of kids there love pop culture from all across the globe. So BTS had their a music award debut, which doesn't mean anything, but it's a big deal because they finally were on a show with other big people. They've been on they've been doing like press, but not an award show. And it was huge because first of all, they planted a lot of fans in the audience to get it that excited, I think.
Oh, yeah.
Because obviously the celebrities are like, huh, what? I mean, for everything, but definitely for K-pop. And Bobby said there are 7 members. They're all like beautiful. It's actually insane. Their big hit right now is called DNA. If you want to watch the video, it's pretty amazing. And BTS stands for like a lot of things. One, because it's like not in our language, but beyond the scene. But like not really. They used to be called the Bangtan Boys or something. The Bulletproofs Boy Scouts. Like there's been lots of things, but they've changed it.
And then there are like Korean expressions that like we probably couldn't even correctly translate in a way that like makes that acronym make sense.
Right.
But like the English attempt at making that acronym make sense is Beyond the Scene. That's like the current one.
And they're hoping with them and with other groups that like K-pop will eventually actually transition into America. I think the problem is not the music, because the music is amazing. It's because it's really hard to sing along with Korean music if you're an American. And I'm sure it's really hard to sing along with American music for them too. But like in terms of like, I recently got obsessed with this artist, and Bobby knows because I sent him the song and now he likes it too. IU, who's like their Britney Spears-ish type person. Someone's going to call and be like, you're so wrong. But whatever, let's just say kind of a Britney Spears. She's had a very long career in K-pop. And her name, it's IU. IU. And she has this song, and I like want to sing along to it, but the romanticized lyrics are just really hard to even read in English. Like even the English transliteration of them is like I can barely figure it out.
Yeah,
you know,
you don't speak the language, but it's a good
hard.
song.
It's a great song. It's a great song.
She likes it. She's 25.
It's the song Palette by IU. It's extremely good. I recommend it.
You won't regret listening to it. And the video is the most 2017 thing that's ever been made. But yeah, BTS, they're huge. Maybe they'll hit in the United States. It's hard to say. It's
so hard.
It's really hard to say because I think this sort of thing has a lot. Like they definitely have the money and the PR push behind them to make it work. But like, will it work? Who knows?
But also you have to think about it. Like Psy hit, but it was like a gimmick song, so it's hard to say whether a real song with music and actual performance will hit. That's not a gimmick, and so I don't know. I'm cynical about it because I don't see it, but I want it to because I love K-pop so much, and I wish I knew more about it. And like, I would love it if there was more K-pop groups. They're all amazing. Like last night, Lala and I were in the car and we were listening to Red Velvet. They have the song
Red Velvet,
Red Flavor, and they have a new song called Peekaboo that's so good.
Oh yeah. I love Red Velvet. It's great.
It's great. And there's people way more knowledgeable than me about K-pop. I just like dabble. And I would love to learn so much more. So like, please call in and tell me more fun things about K-pop. Please.
Next call, the opposite of fun.
Hi, Lindsay and Bobby. Long-time listener, calling in because Charles Manson just died. And I was wondering if you guys knew whatever happened to that girl who wanted to marry him to steal his corpse.
What happened to her?
What happened to her? Like, I've just been thinking about it. Strange call, but I'm willing to answer it because I think it's funny that, number one, we have a way to talk about the death of Charles Manson. How strange. Mm-hmm. Number two, you must not have done a good job researching this because, of course, the person with the answer to this is the Daily Mail. Mm-hmm. The woman who wanted to marry Charles Manson and have his corpse after his death, her name was Afton Burton. She went by the name Star.
It's her time.
She went by the name Star, obviously. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Their engagement didn't really work out. They were engaged for a little bit, but then they didn't get married, as you probably know. But Star's father spoke to Daily Mail and, quote, has revealed that his daughter no longer plans to marry one of the most notorious killers of all time, but that she continues to care for him deeply. So this was maybe, I don't know, a couple months ago.
That's such a good, like, typical, like, celebrity breakup quote, but it's about, like, a killer.
It's about Charles Manson.
Like, you don't, I'm sorry, if it's Charles Manson, you don't have to add, but she continues to care about him deeply. Like, that does not need to be added to your quote. That's, like, for celebrities.
Jennifer Lawrence and Darren Aronofsky broke up today, and it's like, well, she no longer has plans to marry Darren Aronofsky, but she continues to care for him deeply. That's insane.
That's a quote. This is like, she no longer plans to marry him because he's a freaking psycho killer, and maybe it's not a good idea.
Yes. So anyway,
although that would also work for Darren Aronofsky. I'm joking.
God. The moral of this story is, if you're wondering what happened to the estranged former fiance of a famous serial killer,
wondering?
check Daily Mail. Check Daily Mail.
That's true, because literally that's the kind of news that they dabble in their Venn diagram of, like, murders and celebrities. Yes. Just kidding. That's People magazine.
Hi, Who Weekly. I was looking at some AMA photos, and there's this person called Marshmello, and I think they're a DJ. I've, like, seen them on songs. And their thing is they wear, like, a marshmallow headpiece. I guess sort of like Danger Mouse did when, like, Danger Mouse was a thing. But I can't be bothered to look this person up. Who are they? What's their real name? What's the deal? Thanks.
I want to say first off that Marshmello's so... I love the space that Marshmello fills in, like, award show culture, because they're... In award show images, there's, like, stock photos of, you know, tons of people in the audience, and it's so funny to have someone in a marshmallow head in the background of all of them. It's also so funny.
There's this weird, I mean, Danger Mouse, everyone knows who Danger Mouse is, and he kind of performs with the head on, but it's not like actually his identity is secret anymore, or I don't know if it ever was at any point. Do you know? You know,
I don't think it ever was. If it was, I didn't assume it was. I just
but apparently Marshmello's like is, but it isn't, because it was revealed. Everyone knows who it is. It's this guy named Christian Comstock, who is also known as .com, which is weird.
Cool.
And everyone was like, oh, their styles are similar. Also, all of a sudden he, like, put on a marshmallow head and got way more famous, right? I think we are just in this, like, culture where we're really obsessed with producers and, like, DJs as producers. Oh, there goes my radiator. Do you hear it? Do you hear it? I guess my point is like, we're really obsessed with the personalities of these producers, mostly men, all men, actually mostly all men. They're all men. Have you ever met a women producer that's gotten attention? Like, what are all their fucking stupid names? Diplo and
Calvin Harris. Jack Antonoff,
but all these producers who are now coming to the limelight and being, like, famous because they're involving themselves in the music or performing at award shows with big helmets on so that you see who they are as part of their thing. And this is a way also for singers to release singles that are not technically under their names or their albums, but via these producers who have their own projects. What I'm trying to say to you is that, like, he's hitting the sweet spot of, like, that culture being very popular. So when you have Zed, you know, Diplo, the Jack U Project, all those things. Marshmello is this DJ named Christian who it just wears a marshmallow on his head. A marshmallow thing on his head.
That's all.
Right?
He's
what
funny.
else is there?
The marshmallow thing is really funny. I don't know. If you haven't seen a picture of it, look it up. It's
funny.
Like, very satisfying.
It's also funny because, like, that guy has to wear that thing all night. Like, Sia only has to wear a wig. This guy has to wear, like, a literal piece of, like, plastic on his head all night.
All night. Next call.
Hi, Bobby and Lindsay. I just have a quick question. You don't have to play this, but, well, actually, you do have to play this. Do you think that Obama knows any of the Who's from Riverdale, specifically the KJ Appa one? Would he recognize him? I'm thinking maybe Malia and Sasha could possibly watch Riverdale, but who knows? They might be too smart for that, but who knows? Anyway, thanks. Love you. Bye.
First of all, intelligence has nothing to do with whether or not you watch Riverdale. Also, I would argue that smarter people do watch Riverdale because it's a smart show to watch.
Oh, are you kidding? It's critically beloved. Also, I just did the thing where I Googled how old Sasha Obama is. She's 16. He knows who Riverdale is. Like, that's the answer.
That's the answer.
Sasha Obama is 16 years old, right?
Sasha
I thought
Obama
she
lives
was
in
older.
that house. She's 16.
She watches Riverdale. Like, there's no doubt
She may not watch
about
it live. She may not watch it on the television,
knows.
but she watches it on her iPhone or iPad or her
100%.
Kindle Fire.
It's definitely come up in conversation. It's definitely a thing. Obama and Michelle definitely talk to their kids about culture because they're also into culture. Yes. So 100% it's come up, and that's it.
And also, there's nothing moms and dads love doing than like dragging their teen children for what they are obsessed with in pop culture. It's like, oh, that crazy show Riverdale, you're gonna watch. Oh, Sasha, you're gonna watch. You got a lot of Riverdale to catch up on, don't you, tonight? And she's like, Dad, shut up. And then like leaves the table.
Wait, I'm sorry. Obama dragging Sasha for watching Riverdale is like the fantasy. That is my kink.
Yeah, what is your kink? Obama dragging his daughter for watching the CW.
A fanfic you just wrote that's like about 14 words, but then involves like Obama and Sasha Obama talking about.
That's really good. And I think we're done for today, aren't we?
God, I pray we're done for today.
I'm ready to go see 3 billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri.
No comment. Actually, I have so many comments. I've never had more comments.
You have had a lot of noise tonight. You got the cat lady, the radiator, and now a car alarm.
There's just a lot happening in my life at this apartment in Bed-Stuy. I'm sure there's a lot happening in your life. There's a lot happening over here.
Okay. Have a good Thanksgiving. Tell your family hello. You should go out and make an appearance shortly. You can't just spend your entire day listening to Who.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me, but you're talking to our audience.
I'm talking to the audience.
Okay.
But yeah, tell Steven and Allison hello for me.
I will. Let's think of a topic for our audience to talk about their parents with. How about Riverdale? Hey, how about Riverdale? You know what? You go out there and you say, hey, have you watched Riverdale yet? It's on Netflix. And I promise you somebody's going to want to talk about it. And if not, you can tell them how great the show is and get them involved. I love that we're still spawning for Riverdale, but I really do think it's one of those shows that like, if you told your dad about it, he would watch it and be into it. Don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely.
My dad would, at least.
My parents love soapy shit, so...
My dad loves Deadwood, so he would definitely watch Riverdale.
Okay, we're done. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving. Bye.
You will dream it.
Yo, they want to know.
Hey. Hey. I want to be famous.
Hi, my name is Saoirse Ronan. I'm a long-time listener, second-time caller. You might have heard that I'm in the new movie Lady Bird, which is getting some Oscar buzz. Anyway, I'm from Ireland. Ireland's the best. But because I have an Irish name, people keep mispronouncing it. It's Saoirse, not Shay Shay, not Saoirse, not Sarah Reese Witherspoon. Saoirse. Anyway, love Who Weekly. Good form, Bella Thorne.
That was a HeadGum podcast.